So this was the best angle I could come up with to do hand finishing down here in my workroom. So you get to witness my stimming, which is great. There's still more of this stuff here. As pretty as this fabric is, don't buy cheap fabric from Amazon. Learn from my mistake. This stuff frays like nobody's business. Hi, littles. Hi, littles. And the littles. Oh, okay. Hi. So I'm going to start right here. So these are just, I'm just finishing the and finishing the lining to the doublet. So it's inside out right now. If you haven't seen my pictures or uploads, it's leather on the outside. Wow, and this little needle goes through that leather. That's so awesome. Of course, I should have used my thread magic for this. Of course. Of course. You're going to go in there. You're going to like it. Yay! Dog! Welcome to my stream. I've watched your live streams. Now I'm going to watch. Now you can watch mine. I know it's not the most entertaining of live streams, but some cosplayers like watching other cosplayers work. And listening to relaxing music. So this is just a relaxing rainy day. Relaxing rainy day. So if you're wondering why the cuffs are gold, I was wondering that too when I was looking at the museum display. I thought that the doublet was entirely black. No, the cuffs have gold on them. I was like, oh, crap. And I just so happened to have these scraps of gold leather sent to me with another piece I bought for Jareth for his cape. So they just sent me these scraps of other leather, and I was like, oh, I have enough to make cuffs. Okay, cool. I have to buy like a whole sheepskin at Tandy. It can be interesting. I find it interesting and relaxing to watch other cosplayers work. I was just about to go to bed last night and going through my TikTok, and I saw that my friend Nisa, Sarah Lee, Bollocks. Again. Was live and I watched her and she was working on her stuff and I'm like, I need to get back into doing live streaming. So this just knotted itself. So I have to rethread all over again. So it just knotted itself like right there. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. So now I have to rethread. Wasted thread. But I'm going to get my thread magic. I'll be right back. It is right there. Okay, so this stuff is incredible. It's a thread conditioner. So it keeps you from tangling up when you're sewing. So to use it, you just thread your needle. It helps if you're not stimming. I am. Here's how you tie your knot off. Get your two ends. Two ends right there. I know you can barely see it and it's trying so hard to focus. Wrap once, wrap twice. To where it's like that. Bring the tail end over, cross under, and tighten. That's how you tie your thread off. Now you can use your thread magic. So it's like chapstick for thread. So you get your needle and thread and put it through here and then just bring it through. And that's how you condition your thread so it won't tangle up as bad and not like I just did. I'm evening out my thread and I'm ready to go again. Find where I stopped. So I bring it through to about just an inch where that knot is. And I bring it through the knot and tighten. And that's how you start your sewing again. Can't work without Mountain Dew. Oh yeah, this slides through so much easier. That's what she said. Do I recommend the use of a thimble? Yes. Why am I not using one? Why am I not practicing what I preach? Because my fingers are so calloused, I just use them. So I do this so much. So I learned when working on stuff on Dracula, I do what's called fabric sculpting. I did not know that was a thing. I thought I was just weird and insane with how I did my techniques. Because Dracula is so fitted. Oh, you're fine cooking. Yeah, so Dracula is so fitted, the coat is, and had all these extra pieces. I did not know how I was going to put the lining in and make it fit to the coat without bulging up and stuff. So Dracula coat, which later I'll send you a picture of, is 90% hand sewn, because a lot of it I just didn't know how to do with the machine. And I had made the pattern completely by Frankensteining other patterns, so I didn't know what to do. And my friend Jez Roth was watching me, and he's like, "Why didn't you do this and this?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't know how." He's like, "Oh, well, that's okay." I was like, "Is this going to affect my judging?" He's like, no, it shouldn't, because he taught me this really cool thing that if you're on your way home, you stop by Starbucks, that's okay, as long as you get home. So it doesn't matter what route you take, as long as you have a complete product or a completed project. So I do things a little backwards. I do things a little differently. And that's just how I do it. But that's a good way of thinking, is no matter if you take a couple stops on the way home, you still get home. Good way of thinking. Good way of doing things. Oh, no, not that Dracula. Castlevania Symphony of the Night Dracula. And since I have you on Discord, I will send it to you on Discord when I'm done here. Ah, you bitch. And this is why I label my streams not for kids, because I curse a lot. Especially when something tears. Where are you? More? Yeah, don't buy cheap fabric from Amazon. Learn from me. Learn from my mistake. I saw it, it was pretty, it was cheap, so I bought it. Got it, it was like crepe. And I'm like, gross. So I put it in the washer, and that softened it up and made it more silky. But it just frays like nobody's business. And me being the lazy cuss I am, didn't want to rethread my serger, so yeah, just dealing with all the threads that are falling out of this thing. I'm so excited for this costume. You have no idea. Next to Dracula, this costume is going to be one of my biggest ones yet. When I tell people what I'm working on, they're like, "But you already made Jareth." I was like, "Yes, I did." He has at least. Aw, Shaman! Hi! Jareth has about, I think, this one, that one, the jacket, and the black shirt. He has at least 4 or 5 different costumes in the movie. This is his first costume, and it does have armor. And Shaman's been helping me! You know, in hindsight, I should have conditioned this gold leather first, because it is rather stiff. Crappy. Hindsight is 2020. And I hope my end video after this doesn't get muted, because I am listening to a lot of video game music on Pandora. Because it is said, the study was done, that video game music actually makes you work harder and faster. So it's great for studying, great for working on projects. I don't know about you, but I cannot work in complete silence. No way. Because then I'm listening to my own thoughts, and my own thoughts are not the best. Woot woot! Get in there. There you go. So even though I'm retired from competing, I still, when I'm working on my cosplays, I'm like, okay, what are the judges going to think of this? What are the judges going to think of that? You know, is this seam showing? Is this seam crooked? I'm always thinking about that. Take the cosplayer out of the competition, but you can't take the competition out of the cosplayer. Right? Right. So I find it like I pictured one scenario of either me as a judge or seeing a judge who would kill the audio because music copyright. Yeah, they might kill the audio, but a lot of the music on Pandora is not entirely like I mean, this one is official. Like, this one's Skyrim. So it's Jeremy Soule. But some of the music that Pandora plays is covers that people have published. So who knows? So far, they haven't muted my lives that when I'm listening to this music on Pandora. So, hooray! But yeah, so funny scenario. Taking a sewing gauge into the judging when I'm judging other cosplayers. Like, is that right? Gauge their seams, gauge their you know, be that nitpicky. No, I'm not. I'm not that kind of judge. In fact, I probably won't even look at your seams very much because I don't want to make you uncomfortable and I don't want to get into your business. You look like the character. Does your costume represent the character well? Yes. How well? What are your details? Because that's what I look for. I look for details. And the more and minute the details, I will be so happy. That's the kind of judge I am. And I want to know about your techniques. How long did it take you? Yeah, I've got a few lives saved on here, like of sculpting the rib cage for Jareth's vest for the Dance Magic Dance version of him. So I've got video of that. But yeah, I was telling Barziel that my friend Nisa Sarah Lee, who's amazing, you should check her stuff out. She was doing a live last night when I was going to sleep, and I was like, I should watch this. And I'm like, I should probably get back into doing lives. Okay, now I can tie this one off, and this cuff is done. Ah, stay still. Yeah, Barziel, such a good friend. We need to role play some more with your other new characters. So here's the cuff that I just sewed. There you go, focused. There you go. I'm going to turn this sucker around. And here's the next cuff. Oh, dear Square Enix, do not come after me. Dear Nobuo Uematsu, do not come after me. Okay. You're just screwed up. I see. So I'm going to go here. Catch my knots. Get in there. Struggle is real. Okay. Yeah, I've been making those jokes all day. Barziel. Do not scare me. Okay. You are not set like I want you to be. Oh. Down there. There we go. That's better. Okay. Yeah, it helps if my leg wasn't shaking all the time. Okay. Come down here. Where? You fold over there. Like so. Get in there. Okay, there we go. Got it straightened out. Like, should I be using a glover's needle since I'm sewing into leather? Probably, but it would screw up my fabric. So that's the thing about sewing fabric onto leather is that problem. Wider. And also, normally I wouldn't be using pins on leather, but where the pins are poking, it's not going to be seen. So, little bushings. I did not pin this one very well. Not at all. I have to redo it. What funny words? What funny words? what, like Glover's needle and other sewing terms? Are those the funny words you're talking about? Yeah, so, okay, I should probably explain myself then. A Glover's needle is a specialized needle that's small, um, much like this one, but not this small. It's a little bit thicker, and then its tip is cut, so it has like a knife edge on it, and that's so it can cut through the leather better. But because it's thicker, it would actually be not so good for this really fine, super cheap, ugly fabric. So, and it's called a Glover's needle because it's used for the fine stitches that are used in making gloves out of leather. So it's called a Glover's needle. And I use them often um, when making gloves out of leather. When I'm making them out of leather, though, I just use a regular needle like this. So. But this leather, this gold leather, is thin enough that this little tiny needle is poking through pretty okay. So I am not worried. And like I said before you came in, my fingers are calloused up enough that it doesn't really hurt. I don't need a thimble, and I hate using thimbles anyways. It's an efficiency issue. Ah, you son of a bitch. So think of a Glover's needle. The difference between a Glover's needle and a regular needle is like is like going to Claire's to get your ear pierced, and they just shove it right in your ear, which all it does is the tear the cells apart and pushes it open. Whereas when you go to like a piercing parlor, they use a bladed needle to cut the flesh, and it doesn't cause much damage. So with fabric, you can use a regular needle, and it just pushes the fibers apart. Then the Glover's needle cuts through leather, but if you use it in fabric, it just cuts the fibers, and then you have issues, microscopic issues. That will then turn to big issues. And that reminds me of a commission I have to do here pretty soon. Of making a pair of gloves for my friend Han. For archery. Yes, cutting needle versus puncture. Exactly. See, I know words, kind of. So this one's getting a little short, so I'm going to tie it off and get another one. As I yeet my scissors. You're welcome. You're welcome for my TED Talk. It's a lot like when I'm talking like equestrian as well to people, and I'm like, yeah, you gotta, tighten the cinch to have so the saddle won't roll off your horse's back. They're like, what's a girth and what's a cinch? What the hell? What's saddle rolling? What's that do? I'm like, oh shit. Pick up the hoof, clean out the frog. What's the frog? A horse has a frog on its foot? It's like, yes, it does. It's called the frog. Sewing terms, horsey terms. I know a lot. So here I'm conditioning my thread again, so it doesn't bunch up and tie up into knots. When I'm teaching kids horseback riding, I always teach them like the different parts of the tack and the different horse terms, because I don't want my kids to look like idiots when they go to a professional barn. Like, put that thing on that horse's face, then hook the one thing to the other thing. No, we don't do that. Well, good. I love teaching. One of my favorite things in life is to teach. All this experience, I don't want it to go to waste. Be useful to at least somebody else. Like, you get, like, lately we've been having a problem with gatekeeping in the cosplay community, and it's been driving me absolutely bonkers. Like, a cosplayer will think of a technique, and probably a technique that's been around for ages. They just didn't know it, or they did. They just don't want people to know that that's what they did. And then they gatekeep the technique and don't let anybody else know what they did or how they did a certain part of their costume, which is to me very selfish and very not cool. Like, why? Why keep that information to yourself? Why not let other cosplayers learn from what you did? I love learning new techniques. I love teaching new techniques. I love teaching old techniques. And someone just sent me a message with a picture. Spam. Yeah, pretty much, shaman, pretty much. So, speaking of horses, my cousin Leanne and my cousin Darren, so Darren and his wife Leanne, are awesome rodeo stars. Like, they are so cool. Leanne does barrel racing, where they run the horse around barrels in a pattern, and they try to get the fastest run wins, gets the most points. So that's what Leanne does. Well, Darren does what's called team roping. So the calf with horns is let out of a chute, and then Darren is the header at this. In this clip, he was the header. So he goes and throws a loop, a lasso around the horns, and then his partner comes in, and he's the tail end, and he comes and gets the back legs, and that's what they do. And Leanne posted a clip of Darren doing that, and I was like, he's so cool. My cousin Darren's a big guy. Like, he is a really tall guy. Like, he has to have his Wranglers custom made because he's so tall. So seeing him on this little quarter horse, I'm just like, but I got to meet one of his roping horses, and his name was Badger. And you'd think this was a little quarter horse. No, they're huge quarter horses. I'm like, oh my God. What bugs me is when I'm just talking out of my ass now. Well, not out of my ass, but I'm just talking just to fill in and not let AI catch my music. So what bugs me is when I see these big cowboys on these little tiny reining horses, and I'm just like, not. Like, these guys' feet are dragging on the ground. I'm like, get a bigger horse. Well, you can't rein as well. I don't care. You shouldn't be on a tiny little horse. Like, some of these reining horses are like 14 hands, and I'm like, yeah, the rodeo's great. Like, bull riding's my favorite because I like to put vegans in their place when they're like, oh, bull riding is so mean. I was like, dude, that bull is having the time of his life. And those bulls are spoiled rotten. And they're the nicest animals when you meet them outside of the ring. They are so nice because they're handled often. But people are like, oh, they treat them so poorly. I'm like, no, they don't. That's a multi-million-dollar animal. No way in hell are they treating that animal badly. I remember a bull back in my day, named Bodacious. And I think he was the world's most dangerous bull. Not because he was mean, but because his back could flex more than an average bull's could. So his back end would hit the cowboy's head and make the cowboy's head bash into his own head, which didn't hurt him at all because that's where his horns would be. So many cowboys got hurt on that bull, but he was awesome. And there was a bull named Shredder, which I was like, my little fanboy heart goes, because I grew up with the Ninja Turtles, so seeing a bull named Shredder, fuck yes. Spin you around. Yeah, I just aged myself. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. And that goes into another subject. My mom, she's like, how can you be trans? When you were a little girl, you were so girly. And I was like, yeah, I was. And then I discovered jeans. And I realized there was something wrong with me. Because I thought wearing dresses was the thing to do. You had to do it. So I conformed. It's, autism. And, but I'm not full transgender. I am bigendered. So I am both, male and female. One or the other. There is no in between. So sometimes I'll feel really girly and I will goth out and be super sexy. But then my gender dysphoria pops up. Side of me needs to be present. And so I'm like, okay, this sucks. So I bind or just not wear anything at all under there. And I just present myself as more masculine. So it comes and goes. Depends on hormone levels, who I'm with, the energy around. And sometimes it just pops up for no reason. And I'm like, oh, hi, gender dysphoria. You suck. Hopefully. So I don't want to have to thread another needle. Oh, you're so sweet, Shaman. But it's just something I live with. Something I'm used to. Sucks, but it is what it is. I was on tea, but I had to get off of it for health issues. And I'm kind of attached to my hair. I kind of love my hair, and my hair was falling out like so bad. My hair was thinning so bad, and I'm like, I can't. Which just made the body dysmorphia. So I have gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia. It just made the body dysmorphia even worse. So like, this is not what I'm supposed to look like. My genetics suck. At least in that aspect. Other genetics are great. Like, you're 43 years old. You look like you're 35. I was like, oh, thank you. Genetic. Like, what's your secret? Genetics. Come on, you can go just a little bit further. You can go 10. Hang in there. Hang in there, needle and thread. Get in there. Mariel just sent me a picture. What are you talking about, Mariel? I love you. Okay, that's funny. She sent that to the Great Jawa Army. So that was funny. Okay, so Mariel Clark runs the Utah Jawa Army, and I, since I made a Jawa, am part of it. And also, Mariel is one of my goodest friends. I love her dearly. And she kind of runs the whole Jawa Army in the 501st Alpine Garrison. And I'll be wearing my Jawa in a couple weeks down at Four Corners. I'm so excited. Stealing from all the stormtroopers. Yeah. Okay, now let's see if I have enough thread to tie this off. Barely. Barely. Okay, come around one more time. Ah, I did it. Ooh, what's this from? Oh, that's from Legend of Zelda. Okay, cool. It's from Sins of Hyrule. Nice. So there's that cuff. All done. All right, now the big thing. I'll let you guys see. So I have to stitch all of that. All by hand. No, not really. One, two, cross over, and through. Oh, congratulations, Shaman. I just got your message on Discord. Congratulations. That's exciting. So for those of you that are just tuning in and are following, Shaman here that I'm talking to is my photographer, and him and his wife Karma are so talented in cosplay photography. I love them. I have quite a few photographers, but they are now my main photographers now. I am absolutely in love with their style. Yes, I'm bragging about you, Shaman. Deal with it. So they're called Rose Thorn Photography. Check them out, especially if you have my Instagram. Great people, great photographers. Yeah, Shaman and Karma kind of stole me from other photographers. So, like, this is ours now. It's like, okay, I'm not complaining. Other photographers are probably complaining. Good, accept the praise. All the praise. Trying to get this closer to the camera so you can actually like watch my stitching. There you go. There you go. I'm going to unzip this so I can actually grab it. There you go. I'll hold up better. Come on, camera. You can focus. There you go. Focus. Okay, I guess I don't want to focus. It's trying. It's definitely trying. There we go. Much better. Okay, be safe. Crossing here. This is probably gonna murder my hip, but oh well. Good shake, Leo. Good shake. I just realized I had to take more documentation for this, even though I'm not competing at a cosplay contest. I am competing at Queen's Prize with this, so I should probably take some documentation pictures. Helps if my hand doesn't shake so much. Okay. send a message to someone real quick. And Leo's right there. Leo. Okay, I need to pause here for now because I think Leo needs to go outside. So I'm going to go take my dog out and use the restroom. So I'll be back. There is stream.